Hi, my name is Karim Bojan, and I'm here today to ask Elliot Miller 4 questions, which involves influence the media has in sports. The first question I'm going to ask Elliot is how the media influences advertisement in sports.
The media has a massive effect on advertisement in sport, especially in football. As you see everywhere, advertisements actually making people want to watch the matches. I mean, you always see on the telly, watch the big game, do the Manchester derby, which was on quite recently, and they push that through as much as they can, trying to allow as many people to actually watch the game and allow people to enjoy it, but also the people who actually run the TV company will get more people viewing, therefore earning more money. So obviously the media are going to try and push forward any big match, trying to allow more people to watch the game. You especially see this with the England matches. You see it a lot on ITV, especially between the and the adverts, especially on prime time, trying to allow get more people to watch the match, trying to make it kind of more exciting, make it more watchable, a bit more approachable for people to come and watch it. And they always try and make it out to be one of the biggest matches of England's history, even though a lot of people blatantly know it's not. So they try and push forward and allow people to get excited for the big match, so to speak, and allow people to get involved. You see a lot of advertisement on telly, but it's not just involved with that. You also see it on radio, and the newspapers also involved massively, because they always talk about how it can be involved and how what time each game's on, and what programme it's on, how you can watch it, and also they also give their own views on the match itself. So obviously radio and newspaper are also massively heavily involved when advertising the football match. Sponsors are a massive part in advertising nowadays. You can't watch anything without there being some kind of sponsors. A lot on football, you find it on the football tops. Like a famous one for Manchester United is the Aon, I think it's called, which is now taking over their training ground. A 120 million deal has been struck so they can take over and rename their Manchester United's training ground. So obviously sponsors are a massive part, but you don't just associate sponsors with the people who actually run t-shirts. If you look at a lot of the names of the football leagues, I mean, you've got the Barclays Premier League, that is massive now because it's actually shown across the world. So Barclays are getting massive advertisement for them. But also you see it on the Empower League one, which is also big benefits for Empower because they're advertising for them and also involved. So the media has a massive effect in sponsors, but also advertising brings in a lot of people to watch the sport, but also allows people to reap the benefits of watching it.
Second question, how the media influences on scheduling of events in sports.
The media has a massive effect when scheduling events because they effectively decide when it's best to show a match, depending on the TV licence they own, depending on the kind of match that is on, and depending on if they can get more people to actually watch the match. Because Sky TV and ITV and I think a BBC own many of the rights involved in football, they kind of get to decide when the match is best shown. So games you'll find are getting moved from maybe a Saturday to a Monday, so they can actually show it on the telly, therefore getting more people to actually watch the match. A couple of seasons ago, Spurs or Tottenham were meant to play West Bromwich Albion on a Saturday. I was meant to go watching them myself, but because they moved it to a Monday, due to Sky wanting to show the match, I obviously couldn't go, and obviously they just showed it on the telly instead, so I watched it on there. This can obviously be beneficial for people who can't afford tickets but have got the telly, but obviously for people who prefer the experience of actually going to a match, this can actually ruin the sport for them because they actually can't go and watch it themselves. So there are benefits, there are obviously disadvantages, because midweek games are shown at 8 o'clock, and some kids who obviously will want to watch their hero, so to speak, play. They can't because they'd obviously have to go to bed, or obviously can't start that late. So this is obviously a massive disadvantage, but the media see it as a massive advantage because they can show the game where more people could possibly watch it, meaning that they can get more money and obviously get more benefits from the actual TV license that they own. I'm pretty sure a lot of people remember Setanta Sports, who bought a massive TV license to show a lot of the Premier League games. I think it was 2 seasons ago, maybe 3. Because they spent so much money actually trying to show the games, they actually ran out and now only show kind of little games, kind of, you know, the FA Youth Cup games, and not the massive games. Every so often they pull off a big Barclays League game, but it's, since they've spent a lot of money previously, they haven't got the money now to spend. So in some cases it can work really well for a company, but obviously for Setanta Sports, it obviously bankrupted them and they obviously went under. So depending how you look at it, TV, the way that sport is scheduled, or football in general is scheduled, can be beneficial for the people watching it, depending on whether they have a TV or whether they can actually afford to watch it, obviously because you have to pay for Sky. Or if you have, if you prefer going to the match for the experience, for the chance, for the actual feeling of going to a match, you're not going to get much from, because matches can be scheduled for times where you're unable to go.
Third question: influence of media on how sport is viewed.
The way we view sport is largely down to the way the media portrays it. There are many things that can actually affect the way we enjoy sport, can affect the way if we actually like it, or can affect the way if we want to watch it, depending on the actual incident. There's many incidents that go on in football, let alone sport, that can actually affect the way we want to watch it, or if we want to watch it in general. I feel the media actually has quite a negative effect on the way we can actually watch sport. There are many events, such as Joey Barton. I mean, he has many fights, as we all know, involved in sport. I mean, there was a massive one against Man City where he actually kicked Aguero in the back of the knee, and I feel that the media actually brought kind of a cloud over football, showing the dark side of it, so to speak, and kind of could encourage kids to even copy or imitate the way Joey Barton actually went about playing, which is obviously the wrong way. He's a brilliant player, but his attitude is not the best. So obviously if kids see such a player fighting, they could copy it, and the media obviously will show this over and over again, purely for so they can show off what actually happened, which can be good for analysis but not good for the actual sport. Diving is also a massive problem in sport, as everyone knows. It's recently become massive, and is currently ruining what we call the beautiful game. And what the media actually does is it shows everyone how they're diving, which kind of is also able to be copied. So it's kind of showing them the skill behind being able to dive and how to, so to speak, dive so you can actually get a penalty, which is obviously causing massive problems. And if kids can see how they're doing it, they can very easily copy it, and then therefore they think, oh, I'm playing the game the right way simply because they've seen Ronaldo do it, which is obviously wrong. So this does bring a massive cloud over the sport. Obviously there are massive good things from the media's involvement. I mean, a recent incident with Fabrice Muamba, when he had a cardiac arrest on the pitch, what I thought was really good. Obviously they still filmed it during the game, but they never actually showed it on television, which I thought was very good, which actually showed not just respect, but also kind of just showing them being nice, so to speak, without having to be horrible about it. They just kind of left it alone and didn't really report anything about it. It was just simply that Fabrice Muamba had a cardiac arrest, and then left it at that, really. They didn't kind of delve into anything else, why he might have had one, is it anyone's fault, and they just left it at that. And I thought that showed some decency and just basically decency from the media themselves, and tried to show how I felt that was one of the best things they've ever done. Try not to show any horribleness from the part that actually happened to Fabrice. And obviously he's made a full recovery, which is brilliant. There are a few obviously good things about the way the media gets involved. I mean, I think it was last season, Wayne Rooney's overhead kick, which was against City in the Manchester derby, was voted, I think, was the goal of the goal of the decade or something along that style. Definitely goal of the season. And obviously the media obviously gave people the chance to see that goal over and over again. But it wasn't just the media. You got pictures of it in the newspaper, people telling you over the radio, and also had the involvement of YouTube, which meant you could watch the goal over and over again until you were blue in the face. And simply because the media got involved and allows us to watch it, we can actually see the good parts of the football and the good parts of what we want to watch involved. Also, as I've just said, there are some negative parts which I feel could be stamped out, but then at the end of the day, the media don't care sometimes, as long as they get the money at the end of the day.
Fourth question: influence of media on participation levels.
Media, for me, doesn't actually have a massive involvement in making people want to participate in sport, but majorly in football. To be honest, football is already one of the, well, if not the biggest sport in the world, and is still growing vastly. I mean, there is a chance that a child can be developed into loving football and therefore wanting to play it. And because personally, I feel that the media doesn't actually have to do anything to make people want to play it, because obviously there's going to be someone with a father or a relative who once played football, therefore inspiring a child, wanting to make them want to play football. So obviously, obviously there's still like adverts for people who want to join an under 11s team or under 12s team on a Sunday league, making people obviously want to play it. But I feel simply because of the history that football's got, it's already built up a big enough reputation that people don't really need a push to like it. It's kind of already big enough, and as I've just said, it is vastly growing still, with a very good chance of a child wanting to play football or get involved. It is also one of the most showed sports on the telly. I mean, if you just go on the telly, there's going to be some kind of football match involved. If it's not in England, there's always the Brazilian league or the Portuguese league. So there's always going to be a football match on at any time, could be on any channel. So this can also increase participation, because kids will want to watch their hero play and be like, oh yes, I want to be like him, and then we'll go on to want to play football, and then or carry on playing sport. Obviously, simply just showing matches on the telly or showing it in the newspaper or talking about it on the radio can make people actually want to play the sport. This is obviously going to make kids or anyone want to play the sport. So I feel that even the media does have some kind of involvement when making kids or anyone want to play football, but I feel that football has already built up a big enough reputation for them to actually want to play the sport themselves. And as I said, it is already one of the biggest and most showed sports on the telly. I'd say golf is a quite close second as well, because that's always on Sky, along with darts, which has suddenly come rather big. So obviously, just simply showing it on telly is gonna allow people to want to play the sport and involve anyone that wants to.